Pokemon Detective Pikachu is a 2019 film, mystery and fantasy film based on the characters of the famous video game franchise. It was produced by Warner Brothers, Legendary Pictures, the Pokemon Corporation in association with Toho Company, and it was directed by Letterman. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the Pokemon. I understand some of it, I play some of the games, and I know some of the characters, and I love some of the characters. But I'm not a big fan, I'm not invested, I don't know the name of all the Pokemon. But definitely I know that this is a big franchise that a lot of people love. So I was interested, I'm very intrigued with the trailers, and I wanted to watch the film because it looked very interesting and very entertaining. And of course, Ryan Reynolds was voicing the voice of Pikachu, which was something different. So, and I took my nephew to watch the film because he's a big fan of the Pokemon. Now, is this a good movie or not? In the next couple of minutes, we are going to find out. They're good. It is important first to point this out. The film is beautiful. You know, the graphics, the visuals, the scenery, the camera shots, it is a great job by the studio. They did a phenomenal job putting all the stuff together. And not just that, the world of the Pokemon comes to life. So there's a great balance of CGI with realistic takes that makes the film look really engaging, you know, the visuals, and it looks pretty. It's definitely a beautiful movie to watch. And the best part of it is that in this case, the Pokemon are very realistic. You know, of course, if you are familiar with the Pokemon, they have this cartoony style in the video games, of course, and in the anime. And it's just kitty-like, and it is very fun. You know, it's kind of lovely to watch. You know, in this case, Pikachu is a lovely character, but definitely in the movie, it's translated so well that you can feel they're realistic. Of course, they're CGI, but it is a great job to materializing all this universe into film. And that's the biggest plus of the film. It is beautiful, the translation is so well, you can feel that this is a real life adaptation of the characters, and it looks perfect. Also, what really steals the show, at least for me, is having Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu, Detective Pikachu. He is you know, a character. You know, I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan of everything that Ryan Reynolds does. I definitely like what he did with Deadpool. And at first, I can tell you one thing. I was a bit skeptical because when I watched the trailers, I felt that it was like hearing Pikachu with the voice of Deadpool. So a lot of people were kind of anxious for that. Some people were fans of it. Some people were against it. So I was a bit skeptical, but it really makes sense. When you go and watch the movie and throughout the story, it does make sense why is the voice of Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds gives some personality to Pikachu that I would say he never had. You know, he was a cutie. He's a cutie thing. You know, he is just like a thing that you want to embrace and hug. But he's more than that. He's a detective. You know, he's looking for clues. So, and he has some funny moments. So there's a lot of comedy in it. Some comedy is a bit above the for children. But he really personifies the character well, and he makes it feel natural. I never felt that it was out of place like I've seen with other characters in other movies. Like, for example, with Ultron, and in this case, the actor that played Ultron in Age of Ultron in the MCU, I never felt that it was a connection between what you see on screen and the character that is the person that is voicing the character. But here, I feel that is the right fit. It really feels well, and it's comfortable, and definitely he steals the show. Another great aspect of this film, like I mentioned earlier, the graphics are great. But what I really like about it is not just the graphic, is that they translated, and I want to expand on that, the Pokemon universe into this live adaptation, and it feels natural. Like my nephew, he was sitting right next to me. He was pointing out all the names of all these different Pokemons. He was just telling me their names and their powers. So he was very excited because he was watching, and I saw so many families there with their kids, and the kids were really excited to see this Pokemon. So they did a phenomenal job really to engage with the children, with our audience, and I felt that it was natural. I never felt that it was forced or it was a totally different universe. You know, one of those iffy adaptations that don't make sense. This adaptation really was natural, and felt that it really touched those areas So I would say that people were excited there. I noticed that people that actually are fans of the Pokemon, that they grew up with Pokemon, young adults that were really excited with the film, they were laughing hard with the jokes, they were really enjoying the film and the cutesy moments, and the children, of course. So definitely I feel that I'm not a fan of that, so I'm not as familiar with the world, but I feel that the people that were there, that are the big fans of that in this case of the Pokemon universe, they have that fan service that they needed, and definitely that was well done. The bad. Now, of course, we gotta talk about the bad things in the film, and there's really not much bad about this film. Now, it's a cutesy film. There's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good family elements in the film that I care about, that I really like. But one of those things that I felt that the film, it's a bit, in this case, the story itself, even though it's a mystery, you're trying to discover who is the culprit, who is the person behind all the events that are happening, you can see a mile away where the movie is going. So it's not a complicated film. It's not something that is going to throw you off in the last minute. It's predictable. It's a predictable plot, but at the same time, you don't want to make it too complicated, particularly for children, because they are the ones that are going to enjoy the movie the most. So you are going with emotion with the film, and it's a predictable plot, nothing major. The villains are not powerful. The villains are kind of like they're the classic of villain that you know who the villain is from the moment you watch it the first time. So you already know exactly where the movie is heading. So it's a predictable plot, and definitely that's something that, of course, I would say, at least from a movie standpoint, as a critic, I can say it's not the greatest forte of this film. Another thing this film has that I was not a big fan, some of the jokes, particularly with Ryan Reynolds. I love the way he does certain things, but sometimes some of the comedy is a little above, in this case, for the primary audience, the target audience for this type of film, which is children. So the jokes are a little too steep on that, a little too mature in that sense. The good thing, and I can tell you one thing, is that because the type of comedy of those little jokes that come here and there, a lot of the kids are not going to notice, because it's above them. But definitely they still mature, perhaps for older kids. So in this case, this is where the rating comes in place, the PG-13 rating. So you have to be mindful of it, which they can simply get rid of those little liners, and they will just have a perfect G movie for everyone, because technically the families are going to take their kids. I take my kid because he's a fan of Pokemon, even though I knew the rating already. So a lot of families are doing the same thing. So yeah, I would say that that's something that lately Hollywood movies are doing a lot. I saw that with Shazam, and I feel that it's the same here. So they can clean that out, and you have a perfect family film with no compromises. So it could be a nitpick, but also it's I would say it's a flaw. Another flaw with this film, at least for me, are the human characters. Yes, you understand where they're going through, and I love some of the message of this film. It has some good messages here, but the human characters here are one-dimensional. Yeah, you understand what they're going through, you understand their pain, but at the same time, you don't feel invested with them, because the film particularly spends more time in fleshing out, I would say, Pikachu or all the Pokemons. So it's more about a Pokemon film than a human and a Pokemon coming together and relating with each other and their own struggles. There are moments that it feels that the film is going that direction, but ultimately doesn't do it as well as I would like it to be, because at the end of the day, you want to see the human. So the movie is more about the Pikachu and the Pokemon rather than the humans and their struggles. So yeah, I would say that that's the only part, and that affects not only the villains but also affects the heroes of the story. So I think that was, at least I would say, something that didn't make the movie as engaging, or it is engaging but not as impactful as it should have been. In conclusion, Pokemon Detective Pikachu is a fun film. It is very cutesy, you really like it from the get-go. It has everything to be an entertaining film for the family, for the kids. I didn't feel that I wasted money watching it. I felt that it was a good investment. It was an entertaining film. My nephew was very happy, very excited. He loved the film. For him, it's a perfect film. Of course, he's a kid and he's going to say it that way. He was very excited, very happy to see the characters that he loves, because he trades the cars, he plays the games, he do all that with them. You know how it is. So I would say that it's a great time. It's a great investment to take your kids. There's some, comedy that is a little above them, but I would say that they will understand it right away. They will not get it, but of course adults will get it. So it has its moments. Ryan Reynolds does a great job. So it definitely is a good film. Now, it's not perfect, like I said. It has some moments with the film I feel that it needed strength, like the characters, the human characters needed to be stronger. At least their struggles, their emotional struggles, to be more engaging, more personal for the viewer. And of course, some of the comedy was a little off beat. But other than that, the film is good for what it is. It's not going to break records. It's not going to be an Oscar-winning film. But definitely it's a great adaptation of the material, which has always been the way. It's definitely, you see the Pokemon now in live action, and it's the same thing. And the same reasons why I never really care much about it. So definitely it's for kids and children, and it's all it is. And I think it's a great film for the family. And with a great message for, in this case, for parents and for children and the relationship between families. So I really like that. So if I have to give this movie a final score, I would say it's a 7 out of 10. Now, as a 7, it means to me that it's a good film. It's a good film overall. It's not perfect, but definitely it's very enjoyable, very entertaining, and I definitely recommend it for parents to take their kids to watch it and to have a good time. But what is your opinion? Did you watch the film, or what do you think about it? Are you a fan of the Pokemon or not? I would like to hear your voice. I would like to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you're reminded of the next video. Follow me on social media. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. The links are down below. And also, please consider supporting me financially. You can do it on a monthly basis through Patreon, or you can do it as a one-time gift through PayPal or through GoFundMe. The links again are down below. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.